Good morning, students. I hope all of you are fine today. So, let's start a new chapter in science, which is wastewater story, students. So, water. So, students, as we know, that water is a basic and essential need for all the living organisms so that they can survive. As because there are various uses for water, for example, drinking, for cleaning, for bathing, for watering plants, for cooking, for toilets, in schools, industries, in public places, and many more. So, we can say that water is the basic, fundamental, essential need for all the living organisms. Now, students, as we know that water, they are rich in lather, okay, and they get mixed with oil, some kind of black brown water which goes down the drains from sinks, toilets, laundries. These water is called as wastewater, students. Now, as we know that water is our lifeline, okay, we get all the sources of water from rivers, lakes, underground water, etc. Now, students, the water which we receive, they are not clean and they are not very useful for our drinking purposes, as because these water contains some harmful impurities which are in the form of nitrates or sulfates from the soil. They contains some harmful germs, sand, etc. Now, students, the water which are clean and which are fit for drinking, they are known as potable water. Okay, students. So, all the wastewater which are dumped in different water bodies without being treated, okay, they are ultimately polluting the water resources. So, realizing this urgency, the World Water Day, that is on 22nd March 2005, General Assembly of United Nations, okay, they have proclaimed the period that is water for life. So their aim is to reduce by half the number of people who do not have enough access for the safe drinking water. So as a result, the used water, or you can say that wastewater, they can be reused, okay? So after cleaning it. So the cleaning of water, it's a process for removing the impurities, for removing the harmful waste, for removing the pollutants from the water. Now the topic is sewage and its sources. Students, the water which comes from the drains of sinks, toilets, etc., they are called as wastewater or sewage. Now these are highly polluting, okay, and it contains some waterborne diseases. Now students, these wastewater, they contaminate with feces or urine, which are the excretory products of human beings or of the different organisms. But these contaminated feces, students, or these contaminated waste, they get mixed with any kind of a liquid waste, and ultimately these waste pollutes the water, okay. So the impurities which are present in sewage, they are called as contaminants. Now, what are the kinds of sewage? There are five kinds of sewage, students. The first one is the domestic sewage. It is the used water, or the water which is used in the houses. In the houses, mostly comes from kitchen, bathroom, sinks, dishwashing, etc. Now, these sewage, students, it contains more than just water. It do have any kind of impurities such as soaps, such as food, hairs, urine, toothpaste, detergents, etc. Now, the next waste is the commercial waste. It is generally generated from schools, offices, hospitals, restaurants, shops, construction sites, and many more places. Okay. Next is the agricultural waste. It is a liquid waste which is generated from the agriculture. Why? As because excess water has been used, and in these water, students, some pesticides, insecticides gets mixed, as because if fertilizers, if insecticides, if pesticides are not being used in a controlled way, then these get often mixed with water and ultimately it pollutes the water. Next is the industrial sewage. It comes from factories or industries. Now students, there are agriculture industries, petroleum refineries, chemical industries which releases liquid waste, that is the harmful chemicals and diseases. And these harmful chemical diseases, students, they cause number of germs, okay, and ultimately those water contains waterborne diseases. And number 5 is the composition of sewage. Now sewage contains suspended solids, organic waste, some kind of nutrients, saprophytes, and some more bacteria causing diseases and other microbes. So organic impurities means it's a animal waste, human waste, fruits and vegetable waste, pesticides, etc. Inorganic impurities means nitrates, phosphates, metal type of objects, etc. students. Nutrients means two nutrients, phosphorus and nitrogen, which are not used sufficiently, okay, and completely. Number 4, bacteria. These bacteria causes cholera and typhoid, and there are other microbes which also causes some disease which is called as dysentery. Now our next part is the sewage disposal, students. Okay, sewage. Now the term comes from the sewers. Now what are those? These are the underground pipes, students, which has a function of carrying the wastewater and also dirty water from different households, from factories, etc. Okay, you can see a network of big and small pipes. They are called as sewers, and ultimately they form a system which is called as sewerage. It is an underground network which carries all different kinds of sewage from the point of source where the disposal or where the waste being created. Okay, now sewers are generally gravity powered, okay, though pumps are used if necessary. That means if the waste are not been extracted, then they use pumps for extracting all these waste materials. Now students, at the junctions of the two or more sewers, there are manholes which are present. Okay, so these manholes are about every 50 to 60 meter in the sewerage. In urban areas, students, sewage is carried by sanitary sewers which runs off from the streets and carried the entire storm drains. So storm drains means it's a storm sewers. These are large drainage pipes, students, that contains some harmful waste materials from the natural bodies of water so that it could avoid street flooding. So when the two systems they get operated separately, then the sewer system is not the set of storm drain, students. That is why they are called as sanitary sewer. Now why it's a need of proper sewage disposal system, students? Sometimes there are many sewer systems which get blocked. Why? As because due to lack of maintenance, due to lack of controlling, due to lack of cleaning, etc. Now these blockage ultimately causes the deposition of different kinds of harmful waste materials. So these materials may be plastics, grease, etc. Now just think that if these things gets blocked for more and more number of days, then what will happen? Then the environment will be affected and all the waste materials will be clogged and will be blocked. Okay, and ultimately then different kinds of harmful bacteria, viruses, they will get spread up, they will get populated, and ultimately the entire society, the entire environment will be get affected. So students, so the blockage of sewer system will make house dirty and uncomfortable. So we need to keep our houses clean so that proper sewage disposal system may runs. Okay, so as sewage they contain some harmful substances. So if the sewage is not treated, then these harmful waste they will get discharged into rivers, lakes and ground, which are the fresh water sources, students, and ultimately these sources will be affected and all the aquatic plants, animals, they will get died. And ultimately if these four sources of water gets to our society, then and if we eat and if we drink these water, then we will also get affected by waterborne diseases. So it's a very important thing that the sewer system needs to be properly cleaned, needs to be properly maintained so that proper hygiene can be controlled and can be maintained easily, students. Okay students, so that's all for today, students. We will continue with our chapter in our next class. So thank you for today class.